BRB UK. Worse teeth, better accents.
Welcome to BRB UK, episode 631. It is the podcast for BigRedBarrel.com. That's where you should go and check out things that we do, like video games and stuff. Sorry, I'm a little bit out of it. I am Coleman. Hi. With me is Tim.
Hi. Hello. How the devil are you, Mr. Coleman?
You don't get to do a hi. That's a my thing.
It's literally like an international standard greeting, Mr. Coleman.
Not the way I say it.
I didn't say it the way you say it.
You went hi. I heard you do it under your breath.
Still
in
what
my
now?
inflection. You went hi.
Oh.
Like making fun of me.
Like I was having a stroke while saying hi, yeah?
Yeah, I don't appreciate that. Anyway, how are you, Tim?
I am okay. I got 4 days off, which is very, very rare for me. A very rare
Nice.
thing. I can't really afford it, but I'm doing it anyway.
Yeah. I've been off sick this week, and I've been disturbed by my work the entire time. So I haven't really had much in the way of rest, but I'm starting to feel a bit better.
Oh.
Albeit a little bit glistening in the lights today.
How much is chewing gum? How much is petrol? How much? How do I change the petrol on pump number 4?
Petrol station.
Yeah.
How much should we inflate the price of crisps compared to shops?
800%. Put on the Nintendo tax on crisps.
How much is too much before a meal deal starts being laughable? At Shell. Shell for you. Calling you out, Shell. I don't work for Shell. I work for BP.
British Petroleum Jelly.
Those still exist, don't they?
Let's say yes.
Yes.
Unfortunately, yes. They're both, killing the planet.
Legally
So
different
we'll
BP.
all not exist before they don't, I think. But yeah.
Baldy Petrol. That's where I work.
Baldy Petrol BP.
Yeah,
Nice.
we released the store from the franchise. So there you go. Hey, let's talk about video games, because that's
Let's
what this
do that.
podcast likes to do, as
Sometimes.
well as ramble about incoherent babbling stuff. Such as... No, my mind didn't go blank. I just thought I'd pause for dramatic effect. We are going to
That
be
was
talking
overly
about the
dramatic, Coleman.
Yes, we're going to be talking about the Nintendo Switch 2, because there was a Nintendo Switch 2 Nintendo Direct, or Nintendo Direct, Nintendo Switch 2, as I think it was titled,
It
which there
wasn't
is full
Super,
coverage up on...
unfortunately. The
there
Direct
is
was
coverage
fine, it's just
available.
not called the Super Switch. But
There is coverage available on BigRedBarrel.com. You can go read it, pretty much everything that was announced on there and all the specs and what have you. But we are going to break that down a bit on this show. But before we do, break it down. Before we do, we've been playing Atomfall, and we're going to talk about that. Yes.
Speaking of breaking things down, gonna
We've had a
split
lovely
the
little
atom.
jaunt from the radioactive countryside,
Yeah,
just like Emmerdale. but with robots.
radioactive Lake District. I don't know about you, Coleman. Like, is this something that's been swept under the rug? Because this is apparently based on a real life dramatic incident, the worst nuclear accident in Britain, and I'd never heard of it before. I didn't know that was a thing.
In the 60s, right?
Yeah, I mean it was a bit before my time, obviously, but still, I hadn't heard of it.
I don't believe you.
You cannot believe me.
I reckon you were around as a young strangler at the time, going around the
Young
countryside, strangling your
strangler?
victims. Yeah, strangling your victims.
Okay.
And you've either erased the memory because you're trying to escape your past, and so the police don't catch on to you. But I know your game, Tim.
Okay.
Or it was so traumatic that you've blocked it out of your memory, because you were definitely alive in the 60s.
I mean, the person, like, to bring it back to video games rather than the off-topic rambling stuff that we said we weren't going to do, the person in this game has the standard video game amnesia of, I don't know how I got here. I just woke up here.
Yes.
And
yes,
a bit
the
like
Finchley
Fallout,
Strangler, as they
you
call
wake
him.
up in a bunker.
Yes. It's the story of Tim Hibbs.
Do you think this very deliberately uses the term Atomfall? I don't know if there's another reason for that explained in the game later on than I am, but do you think it very deliberately uses the word fall in Atomfall to hint at it being Fallout like.
I assumed that was
Yeah.
what was going
Fairly
on.
deliberate,
But,
I assume.
yes. But this is an alternative future is the idea, or an alternative history for us. So the nuclear things that were going on back in the 60s, it was much worse than actually happened. And the whole of, is it Cumbria? Became like a radioactive lockdown site. And all the people in there have become weird survivalist gangs, or they're just kind of living their life, and there's robots there, and diseased rats and mutants.
Yeah,
kind of
and
Fallout-like.
soldiers.
And soldiers,
Whole
sorry.
town,
The military.
village full of soldiers. And then ill-tempered, mutated animals.
Yes. First impressions, Tim.
I was going to launch into an impression then, but no. Right. My initial impression was, oh, this is very cool. Like, it's visually very attractive. I quite like its visual presentation. I don't think I've got any faults with or any problems with. To start with, I tried to go into its gameplay in a similar fashion than I would, say, a Fallout or another equivalent sort of shooter game, and it's very deliberately funneled into okay, you may have guns and you may have other weapons, but you want to be sneaking around silently, at least at first, because you are under-spec'd to deal with just having a hack and slash or even especially shooting, because that attracts a lot of attention, but you are ill-equipped. Even if you pick up a fair amount of ammo to start with, you are ill-equipped to just go in all guns blazing in this game. That is not the approach to take, I do not think.
Yeah, and it's one of those typical kind of post-apocalyptic survival type games where it's or media in general, where you have weapons, but they're rusted and knackered, and ammo's going to be scarce, so you've got to be careful when you use it. And a little bit Fallout-like as well. You've got the kind of, instead of the vaults, you've got bunkers that you can go in and look for things. And I've only done a couple of them. I find mutants in every one of them, and that seems to be the only time I use my guns. And then whenever it's humans, it's like sneaky, smack them with a cricket bat. Kind of gameplay.
Which I appreciate.
There's
a nice British flavour to that, having cricket bats rather than baseball bats. Does make it feel very UK focused. And as we're seeing on screen at the moment, red telephone boxes, also British.
Yes. Yeah, and there's some mystery around the telephone boxes. But yeah, I was a little bit worried about this when previews started coming in, and it was a lot of because I saw a couple where it was something along the lines of, I was expecting British Fallout, and it's very different to what I thought, and I found it a bit infuriating and that kind of thing, without like looking too much into it, because I want some of this game to be a surprise. And then when I got into myself, I was like, I know what you're talking about. It's British Fallout. It's Emmerdale Fallout. It's basically what I wanted.
Right. Yes and no. Like, I do think there's elements and stuff that I really like the approach that they're going for, but I think it takes a little bit of getting used to. And I will come on to a few other more significant problems that I've had so far, but generally, I'm glad I persevered through a few of those problems because I have really enjoyed my time with the game. But I think from a gameplay perspective, and technical problems aside for a minute, from a gameplay perspective, I do think I'm not the biggest fan of having to do the sneaky, catchy monkey thing unless it's giving you the tools to do that in a fun way, like a Batman game or an Assassin's Creed game or something like that. And I don't think this game does that. But I do think it puts you it wants to put you in the mindset of, if you were in this situation, you would not go in all guns blazing when you first arrive and you don't know what's going on and you're finding your feet. Even if you had weaponry, that wouldn't be a good idea because you'd get messed up by a gang of outlaws if you were in this situation.
It has happened.
And I think I like that. Like, it took me a while to go, okay, no, I cannot, like, it took me a few attempts of going through like my first area where I got surrounded by a gang of outlaws, and I was trying to shoot my way out of it. And that was attracting, like, the sound of gunshots was attracting more outlaws. So no matter how many I fought through and how many guns I was picking up and how many weapons I was throwing at everyone, I was still dying. And I was like, okay, I just need to sneak past this group of outlaws and not try and take them head on. And as soon as I did that and moved on to another area, I found a smaller group of outlaws that I could then have a gunfight with and then deal with and then, like, kind of get stuff off them. And that kind of snowballed into me being able to open up other areas and find more people. And it was just a matter of getting used to that. Okay, like in Avowed, you can, like, which is, you know, the most recent open world game that I've been playing, I could go and fight almost anything. And okay, I might come up against something big and have to like scale to get there and stuff, but I could generally fight my way out of any situation. And that's not the case in this game, but it's not what they're going for. And I don't mind that. Right. I've got used to that now and got used to the expectations of the game, and I'm enjoying it more as a result.
That's fair. I kind of had and it's worth pointing out as well, because you should be playing this game on a sort of higher difficulty. By default, it kind of goes, hey, one below expert kind of thing. That's the setting you really need it on, because
and that's what I'm playing on as well.
Yeah, and it's a game that's made for survival and what have you. Quite early on, they're like, hey, here's a guy, here's a bandit type character you should be avoiding. Talks in a funny accent and he whistles to himself and he urinates when he's left alone too long.
Yeah.
Sneak around him. Here's the thing that pops up to say that he's going to see you and get away from him. And I kind of panic when I'm trying to sneak around people to begin with and would go, oh crap, they're seeing me, pull out the gun, attack, do something along those lines. And it took me a little while to realize, okay, you do have a little bit of leniency before they, they'll stop and go, oi, what you doing? Come back here.
Yeah, and then you can just kind of back away.
Yeah, rather than going, pull out a shotgun, take 2 down, and then get mobbed by another 8. The railroad section at the start. That was the very big learning experience for me to realize that.
Also, I don't know if you did this, Coleman, but little tip, if you're starting out of the game, you kind of open up, when you come out of the first bunker, there's a telephone box in front of you. You can go to the telephone box. You could go off to the left, you could go forward, you could go right. I would go up to the right, where I think is the encounter you were talking about. Go under the little bridge, and once you deal with that guy, there's a waterfall you can check behind and find some stuff. I appreciate it in this game, lots of stuff behind waterfalls. But then also just to the left of that, there's a little selection of caves, and you possibly don't want to go through the cave, but you do want to go into the cave, barter with the guy in there, and pick up the metal detector, because the metal detector is very good at helping you find extra things in the environment without having to go through combat and stuff, basically, which helps with trading with other people as well.
Okay, so I went a similar route. It was map telling me to go one way, and I went, okay, let's go the other way. Got to the point of the caves. I think I'd picked up an extra weapon, and because I went that way, got to the caves and went, okay, well, I'm clearly going to come back here at a higher level, and didn't go inside. So now I know that. I'll go back to that point and
worth going
try
in.
Find the metal detector.
Yeah.
Okay, so I was on the right track, well, the wrong track, but the wrong track. Just didn't go all the way. I didn't commit.
I also spent resources trading for a torch, which I then found a torch in the very next thing. So don't trade for the torch. But anyway, but the metal detector is very handy and gets you some extra resources. I also really, while we're talking about it, I really like that trade system. And so one of the other things, there's lots of things within the game that I think enhances the kind of the feel and the depth of like immersion in the world. And the trading system is one of those things where it's literally got a kind of scale balance, and you put things in the give to them section and you put other things in the things to receive. And as soon as it kind of like the scales balance, that means that you can enable the trade. You can also do that when it's very much weighted in their favor. So you can give something more valuable than the thing you're taking, but you can just, as long as the scales are tipped in their favor or halfway between, you can engage the trade. And I really like that. I think that works really well. It also seems to suit the environment and the world and what you're doing. The whole like weird trading of bottle caps in Fallout always felt a bit weird, and this feels a bit more realistic. And a lot of the game is more realistic than Fallout or other games.
If you take your heart out and then you weigh it against the feather and they are in balance, then you're allowed to go through the field of reeds into the afterlife.
Good.
Did I mention I'm on a lot of medication right now?
But as I said, I think it's graphically impressive. The gameplay takes a little bit getting used to, but I like the world. I like the aesthetic. I like the setting. I like a lot of the kind of systems and stuff they've put in place. The one thing that's been laying it down so far, and it's something that apparently there's a patch that came out today that have dealt with some of these issues.
Okay.
But my time with it has been marred by technical issues. So the major thing is like crashes, like hard crashes. I think I've had 3 of them in like 4 or 5 hours of gameplay. And that's not great. And I would have played it more if it wasn't for hard crashes. And also on top of that, having like the audio just completely cut out on me. And the only way I could make it re-engage was entirely quitting out of the game, restarting the game and going back in, and then it would start again. I did see them put a thing out on Threads that said that the new patch had gone out today and they were aware of the audio issues and that's a priority of something they're fixing. I don't know if that's particular to the S, but that's just something that has really harmed my gameplay. Have you had any technical issues so far on what you're playing, or I'm not sure where you're playing?
No, I mean, other than the technical issue of having the flu and passing out while I'm playing the game, which, you know, not the best thing when you're like happily wandering through a field and then you open your eyes and suddenly you've got a bunch of gang members kicking the crap out of you. But no, I've not had any technical issues per se. Not that I can remember off the top of my head anyway. But I am playing it on the X. It is performing very well.
Okay.
I was imagining there wouldn't be much problems with the S because I was looking at some of just out of my morbid curiosity of owning a Steam Deck. How does this play on a Steam Deck? And I looked into a lot of videos. Apparently very well it plays on a Steam Deck. And I went, ooh, do I want to spend £44.99 and buy this on the Steam Deck? Because I would like to take it on the go.
Yeah. Be a fun game to play in that environment, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I got more enjoyment because if you remember when Fallout 4 came out, kind of got into it for a little bit, put it down, didn't come back to it, other games. As soon as I could put it on a Steam Deck, I went, ooh, now I'm into Fallout 4. And I can imagine this being that kind of thing with me. I do like playing games on the Steam Deck of the first person survival nature. It's quite fun to lose yourself in your commute, and this would be a good one for that. Also,
I just have to give Atomfall in general extra points for its Britishness. It's a good British company, Rebellion. They know what they're doing, but there's just some things that you don't necessarily like know that you're missing from a game until you see them in a game. Like cricket bats being one of them, like cricket pads used as armor as another one. But there's just some very nice Britishness, like seeing the little village and it being a very typical British like Lake District style village, and the like all the signposts and all that type of stuff. But then the people in it as well. There's some like real good archetypes. That I don't know if have you been to Wyndham Village yet? Is that something you've walked around yet? It's the one that you see with all the trailers with the robots walking around and stuff. But
yes, I have.
Yeah, but there was a very funny conversation between a couple of drunk guys, one more drunk than the other, outside the very British pub. And yeah, just like the environments are well realized. That the pub feels like a small pub, but it feels like, you know, it's got all the right things in it and the right architecture. The church that's got like access to the steeple and a basement crypt and all that type. Like it kind of, you know, it just operates in the way that you would think so. But then also there's like very British graffiti in different places, and like
yes, the I always forget what that thing is.
The wall nose thing,
the nose thing, post World War II thing, like being watched. Yeah, I've seen stuff like that, or Legally Different as well. It kind of, I mean, very, very different type of game, but kind of reminds me of Thank Goodness You're Here, which was one of my favorites last year. Because it had that kind of, it wasn't so much like, because it's set in the UK and it's the voices and things, but it's kind of the little background things that they hide that I like. And this is very similar in that way. Very different kind of games, but similar in that way.
I will be glad when it's patched, because I would like to play some more of it. And I, as you said, when the previews came through and it was saying it was a bit different, it sounded like it might not be for me, but I've actually really enjoyed it, and I'd like to like unpick more of the mystery that's going on with it, because that's definitely intrigued me so far as well. So yeah, I've enjoyed it.
Yeah, I will say it's one I'm coming back to. Not because of the patching, it's just because Assassin's Creed Shadows has its hooks in me so much, and I'm intended to play way more of this than I did, but I've just been really enjoying Assassin's Creed at the moment. And similar problem as well, being sick and playing that gaming bed. And it's like, I was running up a wall and then I blacked out and I woke up and I was in the middle of a battlefield just getting absolutely murked. That's not great.
Rebellion did also say about Atomfall that it's their most successful launched game ever. I think that's helped by launching on Game Pass because I think they're counting number of players playing.
Yes.
But that's still good news. Like, more people playing their games is good. Rebellion are a really good developer. And yeah, one of the best of British. So good to see them making a good British game.
I like, and it shows to me incredible restraint when it comes to a game set in Britain, not to just flood it with the jokes that the Americans would know, Shaun of the Dead, that kind of stuff. However, if you can do a little bit of tongue-in-cheek to something that only British people would know, like have a plane that's crashed in a pub, that stuff will go absolutely down well with me. I'd love that.
Yeah,
and I will never explain that reference. If you don't know, you don't.
I just realized as well, do you think, because it marries up about the right timescale, I would imagine, do you think this is a result of them introducing the tax breaks for British games, like as in games with a British flavour? I would have thought so, no? Like, it'd be about the right development time?
Maybe. I didn't even think of that.
I just thought of that, but yeah.
Anyway, Atomfall, to recommend from both of us. That's PC, Xbox Series X and S, and PlayStation 5. And of course, it is available on Game Pass. However, if you were so inclined to pick up a if you were so inclined to pick up your own version of the game without having to do streaming services, $44.99 on PC, $54.99 on console.
Oof. I mean, it's still
£10
reasonable.
console tax. It's more reasonable than Nintendo. Let's get into it.
Oh, he went there.
Oh, yeah. Tim?
Yep.
Nintendo, they promised that, they revealed us a Nintendo Switch 2.
Nintendo.
They said, hey, April 2nd, we're going to give you a Nintendo Direct all about the Nintendo Switch 2. And we're like, what are they going to tell? Are they going to tell us the price? Are they going to tell us the launch date? Are they going to tell us any games that are going to be bundled in, perhaps, or available day one and coming? And they tell us everything. We got a lot of information from this Direct. And if it wasn't on the Direct, it came very shortly after in press releases and on the website itself. So let's get into it right now because, Nintendo Switch 2. Tim?
Yep.
What are your thoughts on the console?
I really like the console. I thought I might be able to resist, and I might have to for financial reasons at the moment. But if my finances weren't an issue, I'd be pre-ordering one, I think, just for Mario Kart World alone.
Yeah.
But the game price is a bit of a problem. The price generally is on the higher side, but about what I expected. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll get to that later.
Yeah. But I think it's a really nice looking console. I think overall it looks really good. It looks like what we thought it was going to be from the whole, early reveal, but also just in general, the fact that they were calling it Nintendo Switch 2 and it being an evolution rather than a revolution. But I don't think that's the worst thing in the world. I'm pretty happy with what they've done here, and I think, this will do well. Like, I don't think they needed to really change the formula that they were applying to this too much to make it too attractive. But I think they've done what they needed to make it so that they can continue selling a Nintendo Switch even in the world where there are a lot more handhelds. Not necessarily consoles, because that's possibly the wrong word, because there aren't really many other handheld consoles at the moment, but there are other handhelds in the market in terms of the Steam Deck and other devices like that.
Mm.
And I can see this competing enough with what those other things are doing that this will be, the success it needs to be for Nintendo. I can't see it really going too wrong for them.
Yeah. I think because it's an impressive looking bit of kit. I would like to, we'll go in the specs in a moment. I would like to see how well it performs with the third party ports of newer games.
And we didn't see much of that.
No, well, I mean, we got a lot of announcements. Obviously, we don't know what's a dev kit, what's a PC, what's a Switch. They're just showing us gameplay footage. But I would be interested to see how it goes because, my biggest complaint about this current generation of games is so many games, they go, hey, here's your brand new game. Here you go. That'll be £70, please, sir. Pop that into your PlayStation. Wow, why does it look like arse? Why does it look so blurry? Why has it got frame rate dips and all these this doesn't feel like the new generation. This feels like I've wasted money quite a lot of experiences. So I'll be interested to see how it goes. It will do well because A, Nintendo product, B, Nintendo games. The longevity will be how the third party performs on this console because it's going to be, in a lot of cases, smaller, lighter than a PC handheld, like a Steam Deck, like a iNeo, a Legion Go, any of those kind of pick your flavor. And in some cases, some better specs they're touting better specs than some home consoles at the moment that are currently on the market. So we'll get into it. So the handheld itself, it features a 7.9-inch LCD screen with 1080p resolution. Not bad. We've gone up from 720 to 1080. When it's docked, you've got 4K support, supported on some games. And we've got a up to 120 frames per second for some supported games. If it depends how many you're going to, because technically you can get 120 frames per second on your PlayStation 5. You need a specific TV, a specific cable, and a copy of Uncharted 4, but it does exist. And the same with the launch consoles, they would say 8K on the box, and now they don't. But, you can say it supports it. It's how many things can do it.
Right, yeah.
So, yes, speaking of the dock, they've added a fan so it won't overheat, hopefully. The tiniest little fan. Let's hear. I'm wondering how that's going to sound.
And a USB socket on the top and the bottom.
And bottom. I know. I was very happy about that because I do a lot of my Switch only goes in the dock for game footage capture or charging. Otherwise, I always play it in handheld mode. So the ability to charge from the top and the bottom so I can keep playing while it's in standing up mode. Yeah, I love that. You've got 256 gigabytes of storage, which is, seems small compared to modern day consoles, but much larger than Nintendo Switch. And plus Nintendo are the masters at compressing their games as well.
Yeah.
I think, isn't their biggest game Tears of the Kingdom, and it's like 5 gigabytes. It's quite insane. Also, you can expand your storage via a micro SD Express card, but it has to be the SD Express. You can't use old SD cards anymore. So that's the thing going forward. New Joy-Cons, magnetic strips, snap-on connections on the side, which we spoke about last time. Do you think that'll be okay?
Does that give you some pause?
They were very careful to say strong magnets, which that's my thing, because magnets do lose magnetism over time. A lot of products that seem really good with the magnet connection can lessen over time, not be as
I thought magnets near screens were bad ideas as well, but they've obviously solved that problem.
A long time ago. They used to erase hard drives as well, Tim. Remember?
But then also, I'm slightly worried about the controllers. I think they'll have solved the stick drift problem. I think they have to have done that. If they haven't...
Yeah, there was a thing about that today.
Yeah, but then also, there's this weird thing where you can use it as a mouse. Yes. And I worry that, rubbing this, the surface of, the inside surface that's got those magnets and stuff, it's going to pick up dirt and dust, and then you're going to try and put that back on. I'm worried about the practicality of using it as a mouse, because before you haven't been wiping your controller all over a table on a regular basis and then sticking it back on your thing. That just sounds like a slight recipe for disaster. That's the only thing that gives me some pause for concern on it, though, really.
Yeah, but at the same time, how many keyboard mice games do you play?
Well, but they're touting the fact that you could use a mouse in Metroid. I mean, there's stuff like Civ where you could use it, but they're saying they could use it for first-person shooters. I don't think I will necessarily. I might give it a go to try it out, but yeah.
Again, predominantly playing in handheld, I probably will very rarely use the mouse feature unless it's something like rather than the using mouse for aiming, if it was like a novelty function like the basketball game we're going to talk about in a bit, and Mario Party, those kind of things, then maybe for that more so than using it for a shooter. And plus, we don't know how accurate it's going to be or anything. We'll see how that goes. It could be absolute bobbins trying to use it.
I do worry that that's going to be the waggly, shaky. What was I can't remember what where you can rotate an ice cube and all that type of stuff, and you can feel it.
HD Rumble.
HD Rumble, that was it. I worried that the mouse functionality is the HD Rumble of this console. As in, it'd be a really nice idea. You have 2 or 3 games that use it to start with, and then nothing, and then it won't be supported in future versions of the console or in other places.
Yeah, that's always the problem. When you're doing something that other consoles don't do, it's then down to the third party to support that extra bit of development. And if they don't, then I think with a rarity being the PlayStation 4 and 5 having a touchpad, they tend to drop them over time and then save money on just not bothering with that feature anymore. So we'll see how it goes. The random square button that we'd seen previously, they've shown that it's a C button for chat, meaning
C for chat.
Game chats, which we'll get to soon as well.
Mm-hmm.
Cartridges are now red, which makes them more expensive. You have spatial 3D sound. You can do game share, which we spoke about last time. And in-game voice and video chat using the Switch 2 camera, which is an extra peripheral. Well, we might as well just jump straight into game chat.
Game chat. We can chat while gaming. You don't need a phone now, Coleman.
Nintendo finally hit the lofty heights of 2002 and caught up with the Xbox. They have allowed some form of game chat in your games, which is great. I know we've had this previously. There was not many people remember the Wii Speak, which was the peripheral to allow you to talk over the internet, but I think only Animal Crossing supported it, and it was rubbish. Terrible quality microphone.
Right.
And then again, the Splatoon chat. Do you remember the Splatoon chat, Tim?
No.
This was the Splatoon 2 Hori headset that was officially licensed by Nintendo.
Okay, yes.
But you had to plug it into a little weird squid that you would connect to your phone and then to your Switch. And then you had wires everywhere. And then if you stood up while you had this all connected, it was awful. Anyway, and I think they kind of pared that down to just use the app, but no one used the app and everyone just went, hey, we're just going to use Discord anyway. And I got a feeling that's what's going to happen this time, because I know, much like when they did the online play, again, launched for Splatoon 2 on the original Nintendo Switch, as soon as they went Nintendo Switch Online, very quickly, it's like, okay, you're all on this? Good. Now we're charging you for it. And that's what they're doing with Game Chat. It's going to be open for a little bit, and then they're going to go, you're all in? Good, cool. Charging you. We're charging you for Team Chat.
I think they already said that you have to have whatever the Nintendo online account thing is to access Game Chat. No, I thought that was part of what they said. Yeah, so that's already a thing. But I do think having that baked in at the system level, they've obviously no longer afraid that children can chat, because they're like, oh, everyone does it now. Like, it's just the thing. We should have possibly done that a few years ago. But I'm
assuming that you still have to be on your friends list rather than
yes.
randoms.
But I do like some of their approach to it, and having it baked in at the level they've done it and in the way they're implementing it means, like, okay, you can have. And it was weird when you were just seeing like the chat, and it was just like a vibrating voice box thing in a massive like part of the screen real estate at the bottom of the screen. I do think though people have much bigger TVs than they did when previous consoles came out in general. Like as in going back to the Nintendo Switch days and stuff like that. So I do think having a bit of your screen taken up isn't too much of a problem. But when they showed the functionality of actually having gameplay of your friends on screen as well, I can see that working in a interesting way. It's almost like going back to the GoldenEye days where you can like see what's happening on their screen and sneak up behind them because you know where they are. And stuff like that.
Yeah, and there was some talk about like what features turn off and on when you're on chat and sharing your screen when it's not meant to be shared, that kind of thing. And I'm assuming that kind of viewpoint where you've got it on the one screen with all the little screens below can be switched off, because if they can't, I will never use this feature.
I assume
well, you know what I'm like with my gameplay. If the frame rate's too low, it makes me travel sick, and you know, and through editing podcasts as well, sound quality is like a big thing for me. I bad quality mics and things really annoy me. And if you then line up 4 little screens of really poor refresh rate and just the low
make you very ill.
Those things.
But
yeah, I will never be able to use it.
Yeah, I that may be a problem for you. I accept that. And yes, I'm sorry if that's the case. But I do think where it really came into its own is where they showed off the functionality with Mario Party. And I'm not one that cares about Mario Party, but I can see in multiplayer games like that, where you've got the little, like, almost speech bubble type thing that's coming out of the Mario characters that has a little photo or a little video of your face coming out of the character so everyone knows who's playing as which character. I think that's quite cool. Like, I could see some good implementations of that in that sort of setting.
Yeah.
Again, it's one of those things that it seems the general chat's going to have a wide level of support. Is that baked in at the system level as well? Or is that something they've had to particularly program for Mario Party? Is that something that third-party developers can quite easily make use of? Or like you say, are they going to have to program for it and stuff like they do with the mouse functionality as well? Be interesting to see.
Only time will tell. Okay, let's do some prices. So
yeah,
you've got a standard version. Yeah, and then we'll get into the games. So you've got a standard version of the console. That includes the console, the 2 Joy-Cons, obviously, the dock and an AC adapter and a HDMI cable. £395.99. That's better than I thought it was going to be, but more expensive than I'd like it to be. But,
exactly.
You know, what was it? $290 for a basic Switch last time, so an extra £100 on top of that.
I feel like it was even more than that. No, I feel like it was in the 300 range. I don't remember accurately.
I thought it was $289.99. If I remember rightly.
Google that while we're talking.
You Google old men Googling during podcasts. It's everyone's favorite section.
Yeah.
And if you want that bundled in with a game, which, you know, they've made this quite appealing because of the price of the game, it's cheaper if you get it in the bundle. Mario Kart World Bundle. So all the same, but with Mario Kart World, £429.99.
I mean,
yes.
Again, like you said before, like, it's not as bad as I thought it was going to be, even if I would like it to be a little bit better.
Now, there's something interesting here, and I talk about the cartridges costing more because they're red. I was looking through the official RRPs, whether they are digital, and they've listed what the prices are digital compared to physical on the Nintendo website. And it seems now, if you are a physical collector, which a lot of diehard Nintendo fans are, they love collecting those physical games. You know, if you just take a look at any game that's announced for Switch, have a look on X or Threads or anything like that. Look in the comments of any announcement, and it's physical, question mark, physical when, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
All the time. They love collecting these things. So in the UK, if you're buying a physical copy of the game, you'll be paying £8 more than the digital version of the game.
Oh. I mean, that makes sense. There's at least £8 more stuff they've got to make.
It doesn't make sense to me because I think when you factor in manufacturing, shipping, labor, all these other costs that are involved in the creation of a game, I think you should be saving more than £8. But if you were to look at it that way,
I mean, that's what I'm saying. There's at least £8 worth of stuff, like possibly more. Yeah.
And I would think it was them going, hey, we're going to penalize you for buying physical games because we want to go to a more digital format in the future because the costings are saved on our side.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I could see them going, hey, a lot of our fanboys love buying our consoles physically. Let's just gouge them a bit.
Yeah, possibly. Just for the record, apparently it was
Yes.
£279.99 at
Oh,
launch.
I was £10 off.
So with a game, it was probably over the 300 mark.
Probably, but they never included a game with it in the launch consoles. They just went, you should buy 1-2 Switch for 50 quid.
And I went, how that worked out.
Okay, yes, please. Thanks, Nintendo. And then no one wanted to play with me.
So let's talk about the big elephant monkey in the room. So they're talking about it being £429. So it's basically £35-ish more expensive to buy with Mario Kart, which makes it a no-brainer to buy Mario Kart. And when you're thinking of it of being a 50, 60 quid game, but apparently it's an even better deal than that, Coleman, because apparently the game separately is £80.
70, isn't it 78.99 or something like that?
Great. I mean, that's
so random.
You get some change from £80. Great.
It is. I mean, I think in the modern day that makes it the most expensive physical game on the market that isn't a special edition.
I would say that you are probably right. There might be some that's on the mass market. There might be some, rare limited run games that possibly run to that sort of cost.
They don't count. No,
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like,
about,
excluding those sorts of things, mass market, general game. Yes, I think you are correct.
Yes, and if rumors are to be true, that may be changing with the release of GTA 6, but we'll see what happens there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, quite pricey. But
yeah,
prices aside, what do you think of it? Because I know Mario Kart was going to be the one to catch your eye straight away.
Yes.
How are you feeling about the look of it? Because I think it looks very charming.
I'm loving the fact that it is a launch title. It makes sense, but I don't think that was the case in the previous one, or even with the Wii, as far as I remember, or the Wii U.
Not the Wii U version, but actually, there might have been on the Wii U version. The Switch version was the deluxe. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, I believe, was a launch title.
Was it a launch title?
I
thought it was launch window.
Yeah,
I didn't think it was launch day. But
no, I think it's because it did really well because of it.
Right. Okay. Yeah. And it makes sense. And look, aside from releasing the DLC tracks and stuff that they released, they've had enough time to kind of, to do that. And it does seem like, they've made this world rather than world tour, but they have also made it a kind of open world game. I'm a bit wary about some of those aspects because, like, they showed off one of the Grand Prix in the treehouse today.
I liked that.
And they were just showing, like, it seemed weird because you do a race and then you'd have a race between your races to get from one race to the other, but you were still like racing and having like first, second, and third, and like I was like, what? How is this not just another race? So it doesn't count as part of the Grand Prix, I think. But
isn't there like two different? Well, it's like two different versions of that. It's either you do the races, you can do the bog standard tracks, you can do the free kind of drive to the next track each time, but then there's a mode of it to go, hey, you done the race, now race to the track. And quite like that.
This is what they're showing off Grand Prix mode, and the Grand Prix mode has you doing 4 separate races, but then driving between those races. And when you're driving between those races, it's not just like everyone goes. There's still like first, second, and third, which I found a bit weird. So, like, if you were just looking at a screenshot, you wouldn't know that they weren't in a race, even though they're racing between races. It was weird. I don't quite get that bit of the concept. But then there's also the kind of point-to-point race thing that they showed off, like that's going to be sequential races and a bit different. But I'm all for them breaking up the formula a bit and doing some interesting stuff with that. I don't mind that. I do think the gameplay they showed off looks fantastic. They did show a couple of levels and playing around it, and yeah, you can like grind as we saw in the stuff. You can like wall ride as well. It's not like the in 8 Deluxe where you can like go up on the side of the walls by going up into a particular area. You can just like literally kind of hop from a grind into a wall run for a bit, basically. And yeah, like there's some other differences. Like you don't have to hold the button down to have like an item appear behind you now. That happens automatically, which is quite cool. And it does
Mhm.
seem like there's more kind of spinning and more tricks and stuff that you can do when you're going between stuff as well. And that seemed to be the functionality that seemed to be built into the game and the track design and stuff as well. So yeah, like I think graphically it looked more impressive than the previous versions. It's still, like not the most graphically impressive game, but I do think there's a bit of HDR and stuff in there that makes it look a bit shinier and nicer. It does look like a next generation Mario Kart, which is kind of what all you want from it, really. It does look like the gameplay is going to be really good. And it does look like it's going to be a really good game. Like they also seem to have simplified how some of the stuff interacts and some of the stuff goes, but it seems like they've streamlined things in a good way. Also, one of my favorite changes from what they did before to what they're doing now in a presentation style thing is that you get wings rather than a canopy or a glider thing that pops up of it. Just because sometimes I thought that made it
rubbish.
really hard to see where you were going in a track that you didn't know so well, or just in general. And I think the wings will be just much cleaner and smoother and looks better. They got like transforming cars. It does look like there's water sections as well, which they didn't they showed off, but they didn't really talk about so much in the bits that I've seen so far. So I don't know
that's
how
that's probably because there's more to see on the 17th of April when they'll be doing a dedicated Mario Kart World Direct, Tim.
Which will be very cool.
Yes.
Very cool.
Yeah, I like the look of it. I don't know. I mean, there's very few games, especially on launch, that I'm actually that interested to make me want to put down the money for
my
it.
other problem.
But Mario Kart World probably is the one. I really like the free roam idea, just driving around the open world with your mates online.
Taking photos.
Looking at their crap 144 resolution shared screen running at 2 frames a second. Hey, look at this cool trick. No, you're right, mate. You're right. It's fine.
No, it's okay.
Yeah, that's great. I'll be interested to see what caveats have to be made to either display the 4K or display the 120 frames a second. So we'll see how that goes. All right, one for thee and one for me. Donkey Kong Bananza, I think, looks amazing. And I think you should be excited for this one too, Tim, because this was giving me big Mario Odyssey vibes, which I know you were a big fan of.
And I do think it's odd that, okay, they've got a Mario Kart game, but they don't seem to be launching with a Mario game. They seem to have gone, all right, we're going a bit left field this time. We're going Donkey Kong. And it's fine. It's cool.
In a Mario game.
Yeah. Well, yeah. But yeah, it does seem to be filling that slot. And it's weird for them not to have a launch Mario game, but I guess that's something that they can bring in afterwards. And I do actually think this one looked quite cool. Like, as you said, it did give some Mario Odyssey vibes in a fun adventure platformy, but if it was just platforming, I'm not sure I'd care as much, but it did seem like it was more of a big adventure brawling game as well, basically. And it looked really fun.
Style.
Yeah. And yeah, I as you said, I think I could be interested as well, even though it's not necessarily my thing if it was just a Donkey Kong game.
What do you think about DK's makeover? Because we saw there was a little glimpse when they first announced the new Mario Kart game they showed off the previous.
So had a bit of a glow up, yeah?
Yeah, and everyone kind of focused in and went, oh, they've changed it, and it's to make him look like the Mario movie. It's like, no, that looks different. It looks more like the Game & Watch kind of Donkey Kong. Like it's somewhere between new and retro, and I'm down for it. And it was apparently for this game. Like they've changed his look in a lot of the promotional stuff as well.
Punch an ostrich?
Yeah,
I think he just punched an ostrich. Okay,
mate, you got to be careful with ostriches. You got to show them who's boss.
Yeah,
they'll disembowel you with a flick of their beak, probably.
But yeah, I mean, I don't have strong feelings about the look of Donkey Kong, but
I
do.
I think it's great.
He looked all good.
I like his glow up. I think it looks great. And also, more importantly, he now wears trousers and suspenders to go with his
I mean,
tie.
that's the main thing.
He is more and more turning into to smart businessman ape, and I like this. I'm all
He
down for it.
seems to be wearing like heavy eyeliner as well, but
I think he's always looked like that.
okay.
But yes, Donkey Kong Bonanza not coming out
They're cool.
with the Switch 2, but it is coming out 17th of July, so not a long wait. But yeah, that is the best looking game I thought out of everything that they showed off.
Yeah.
In particular, was there anything else that grabbed your attention, Tim, out of the lineup?
I mean, just glossing over it, but I do think it was weird that they had Kirby Air Riders there because the last game did not go down well previously, but I guess they're returning to that well and trying to do something with that maybe. But yeah,
I'm
the actual
assuming that's got something to do with who's directing it.
quite possibly that would make sense. But the other like big Kirby game looked cool. But again, like I liked the last one. It's not a real surprise there's a new version of that, but I didn't play the previous one other than the demo. I thought the demo was fine. It might be something that I end up picking up on the Switch, but I don't think it's like a headline act for me sort of thing. The one that I do think I will save for the Switch 2 is Metroid Prime 4 Beyond. And I've never played a massive amounts of Metroid before. I've never been a huge fan, but I do think this game looks fantastic. And yeah, it really looked interesting. I like the footage that they showed off of this. And again, it's something that, it's coming to the original Switch, fine, but I do think it's going to be superior on Switch 2. Be weird to see if that mouse control thing is any good with a first-person shooter, so I'm interested in that from that perspective. But I do just think this game's going to just perform a lot better on the Switch 2 than it will on Switch 1.
I mean, I did say at the last week's Nintendo Direct that I felt that the trailer they showed for the gameplay in the trailer for Metroid looked like it could possibly be for the Nintendo Switch 2. And I feel I was right because they basically showed the same trailer.
Yeah, I think you are
hence
correct
why it's not in their YouTube lineup. But yeah, looks good. I'm not the biggest Metroid fan. I prefer the platformers than the first-person shooter. But
I do like a good Metroidvania though. But I think I wasn't really on Nintendo systems at the time where the previous Metroid games were really doing their thing. And I never picked up like Super Metroid on the SNES and stuff like that. It just wasn't a game I engaged with like I did with Mario Kart and other Mario games and Street Fighter and stuff like that. So yeah, I haven't put any significant time into a Metroid game, but I think I could really enjoy it. So yeah, I think that's one for me.
4K 60 in quality mode, 1080, 120 in performance mode.
I think
that's the kind of caveats I want to hear about.
Yeah. Even though we're in danger of running time, I would like to also see and hear your opinion on the Duskbloods, because I think people will be interested in that as well.
I was really hoping you were going to talk about the basketball game. Yes.
That has to be talked about too, Coleman, but yeah.
Yeah, we'll do that next.
For different reasons.
So, yeah, quite a big surprise on this one. So, first of all, they showed off that Elden Ring is coming to the Switch 2. Not launch day, summer, I think it is. And that will be kind of one of the...
Didn't they just say 2025? I didn't think they even specified
maybe it just said 2025.
Yeah.
But that'll be the kind of big test because that's had some performance issues on modern day consoles. In fact, it played better if you bought the... What was it? What Kev did? You bought the PS4 version and then played that on the PS5 rather than buy the PS5 version like I did. It performed better on the older version of the console games than the newer versions. And so it'd be interesting how that goes. And then to kind of go, but that's not all. We've got a game coming to the Nintendo Switch 2, and it's exclusive to the Nintendo Switch 2. It's called the Duskbloods, and seems to be vampire influenced, and it looks very kind of Bloodborne-y influenced. It's again in a kind of London type area, much darker and grimmer than the one we know.
It felt like, hey, this is legally distinctive, not Bloodborne 2, but hey, F you, Sony, we're going and playing with Nintendo now, and we're taking our Bloodborne ball with us, and we're adding some vampires so you don't sue us. Like, that seemed basically what they were doing.
Yeah, I mean, from the, we had the Dark Souls remasters on the Nintendo Switch last time. And also, I believe there was a Dark Souls amiibo that was launched for the Switch. So From Software are supporting Nintendo more and more. I'll be interested to see how this plays, but I'm not sure if I'll be into. I'm kind of over the Souls-likes at the time being. I'm preferring the resurgence of hack and slashes over the Souls-like type games. But this one's also PvPvE, which not big into unless I've got like a friend to play along with me, and like the one friend that I could think of to play this game with is not into PvPvE. So I don't know. We'll see how it goes. I'll just see closer to the date how it is. It's not going to happen until 2026 anyway.
If it's got a similar system to Elden Ring, where you can summon your friend to play with you, or you can summon a stranger to play with you, but you can also just summon other things to play alongside you, then I'll be down for it. Even though I might not play much of the bring in another player stuff. But yeah, it appeals to me on a certain level. I like style of game more than you do, I think. But it also appeals to me just, it's got Big Ben in it. It's London-y. I kind of, that makes me a bit more intrigued as well. I would like to see it.
I like Big-Headed Raptor. Big-Headed Raptor's the best.
There was some good
T-Rex
stuff.
T-Rex head, Raptor body. That's funny to me.
I will reserve judgment, but I'm definitely intrigued. I think it's more interesting just from the fact that it's a Bloodborne-esque game that's not being made with Sony and is launching as an exclusive on Nintendo.
Well,
I think that's some
Sony
headline.
or Activision or Bandai Namco.
Yeah.
All the greats, all the classics. Mm-hmm. We have to talk about Drag Cross Drive or Drag X Drive.
I don't know. I'm not sure, Coleman. I'm really not sure. RuPaul's Drag Basketball.
It's imagine the Paralympics basketball, but Rocket League. 3-on-3.
I have to give them credit. I was watching the Giant Bomb talk over the stream for this.
Oh, right.
And they did refer to it as woke Rocket League.
Woke Rocket League.
Yeah.
I like it.
It's like, oh dear.
So it's the idea of taking the two Joy-Cons, using the mouse functionality of both of them, and then trying to control a wheelchair by dragging it. And okay, good idea.
Is it though? Is it? It's an idea, Coleman. It's definitely an idea.
I mean,
is it a good one?
It definitely seems. I mean, I'll judge it on the price alone, because
well,
if this is fun enough and you can find the people to play online with, and Rocket League took off, I feel, because it launched on PlayStation Plus as one of the monthly games. And then through word of mouth, it became so big on every platform available until eventually becoming free to play. If they go, this is a 50-70 pound game, it might not do
50,
as well.
70? That's a lot of
50
numbers.
or 70.
Yeah.
Maybe an 80, who knows? It's got mice controls. They can justify the price.
Mice controls?
Mice controls. But
I like mice controls.
It's interesting. Controls. I think the art style is so bland, but other than that,
I think it is so bad. Like, I have nothing against wheelchair basketball. I think you could make a fun wheelchair basketball game. I'm not sure this is it. Seems like very much in the way that ARMS was made to show off what the Switch and the waggly stuff could do with that. This was like, it wasn't necessarily like game first and hardware second. It's like hardware. What can we do with this? We can make this silly idea. And like you said, like if they gave it away with Nintendo Switch Online, I think it has a chance. If they try and sell it as a full product, I think it's doomed to fail. In the same way ARMS like had its followers, but did really never take off and was not great. But judging by the fact that they are selling the like tutorial thing about how the new console works as a full price game, I'm not sure full price. I don't know what price, but they're selling it as a game, as a box product type thing.
Yeah.
That there's no way they're giving this one away for free. I don't think.
No,
Remains
and there was
to be
another
seen,
one as
but-
well. I found this very interesting. So we're going to just rattle through these very quickly to get this done because we've got to go. But Nintendo Switch 2 Welcome Tour. I saw that. I went, what a clever little packing title.
Yeah.
Nope. Selling it.
Yeah. What?
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
a little diagram tour of the inside of a Nintendo Switch. It looks like kind of like Astro's Playroom or what was the Aperture
like a packing
desk
game,
job?
Coleman.
You know,
Looks like a packing game.
But it's not just a game that looks like a packing game, but it's one that specifically highlights the features of the console. So therefore, should be included as a packing game. Mad that they're selling that. I'll be interested to see how much they sell that for. But yeah,
too much.
Should be included.
Well, hopefully not very much, because it would be silly if they do. But yeah.
We got a couple of confirmations of other games that have been announced for the Switch or already on the Switch that are going to come over. Kirby and the Forgotten Land Cross or Plus Star Crossed World, August 28th. Super Mario Party Jamboree Plus Jamboree TV, July 24th.
I don't understand what Jamboree TV is. Do you know, Coleman? I don't. What?
So Super Mario Party Jamboree came out last year for the Switch. Jamboree TV makes use of all the Switch 2 features like the camera and the mouse.
I didn't get
all
that.
that
Right,
stuff.
that makes sense.
And has the cool little Bowser game show rock concert thing.
Cool.
I like the look of. Pokemon Legends Z to A, that is going to come to the Switch 2 as well. No surprise.
Looks
Higher
terrible.
resolution, bigger frame rates. Down to opinion. GameCube games. That was an interesting one to me because ever since the launch of the Nintendo Switch and data miners started scrubbing around and stuff, they went, oh, you could play GameCube games on this thing. Wonder how long till they announce that. And then they started announcing the library of retro games for Nintendo Switch Online, and this kept going and kept building, and we got to N64. I was like, well, surely they're next going to announce the GameCube. And they finally they did this with the 3DS, and then they didn't put the SNES games on until 3DS 2. They've done it again. GameCube games, they are going to be available on Nintendo Switch 2 online just for Nintendo Switch 2. And they're going to launch with The Legend of Zelda Wind Waker, F-Zero GX. Love that one. And Soul Calibur 2, the one with Link in the game. So
I do like Soul Calibur, and that F-Zero is a good F-Zero. So yeah, that's something I'm mildly happy for, I guess.
Yes. New wireless GameCube controller will be available to play those games on as well. I think it's about $34.99. Look forward to seeing that bumped up to £120 on eBay. That's what happens with all of these controllers.
Yeah.
What else have we got? Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment. That's coming out winter 2025. That is going to be a prequel to Tears of the Kingdom. Interestingly, Deltarune. I know you're not that aware of, Tim, but this is a kind of side story. Well, a parallel story to Undertale. There's a huge following for this game. Chapters 1 and 2 came out years ago now. And they've just announced that 3 and 4 are coming out on the same time, and they're going to launch alongside the Switch 2. So they're going to be available on June the 5th.
I'm not sure.
A lot of people care, but they're going. Yes, but that will also launch along the Xbox and the PlayStation and PC at the same time as well. But very cool, I thought. Hades 2 is getting its first console launch, and it will be on the Switch and the Switch 2, which I believe Hades had its first console launch on the Switch as well. So that's interesting.
Yeah.
Great games.
That's cool. Good for Nintendo.
Yes. There is loads of third-party games. We're not going to go for it.
I'm guessing you're most excited about buying Cyberpunk again, yeah?
I'm not buying Cyberpunk a third time. But it's the Ultimate Edition. It does contain all the stuff. And they have cloud saves on GOG, so I'm assuming you can carry your saves over. I will be interested to see how that plays in handheld mode, if it does play better, or if they've what's the word, if they've worked on it specifically for this hardware to perform better than it does on like a Steam Deck or something. I'll be interested to see how well it performs.
Coleman.
Mm-hmm.
Borderlands 4.
Right? I nearly swore then. Bloody jump scare Randy Pitchford. I was quite happy. So again, I've been very ill. I was quite feverish while I was watching this. And I was trying to make notes as well, because I was going to do the write-up for bigredbarrel.com. Read it now. And I was just making notes. And then all of a sudden he went, "Hi, I'm Randy Pitchford." I went, "Ah!"
As if by magic.
Got the same Sean.
All right.
Like more seriously, Joe Hendry.
More seriously, like, it was interesting to see that EA are actually putting their foot forward to actually bring some stuff. It'll be interesting to see whether they actually make decent versions of their games. Likewise, 2K bringing your wrestling to the party. Coleman, you happy with that?
That'll again be interesting because they were one of the worst ones for the original Nintendo Switch.
Ooh.
Yeah, because the NBA series they would do the FIFA thing where they would just bring over the old game and change the roster rather than make a new game like on the newer consoles.
Yeah.
And I think it was 2K16. I can't remember. One of the WWE games was so broken on the Switch that they'd never bothered doing it again.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh. Also, interesting, Star Wars Outlaws coming on there. That's quite cool. Like, I do like that game. I'm not sure I'll double dip, but if it gets cheap enough at some point, I might pick it up. And it was interesting to see a sequel for Demon X Machinima. Titanic Scion is the new one. But it's a game I really like the aesthetic of, but I didn't actually like when I played it as much, basically. I'm hoping they'll do the same thing they did with the last one, which put a demo out, because I'd like that to be decent, but we'll see. But yeah, like there's some interesting games in their third-party lineup that I think will be interesting to see how they perform on the Switch. We saw a little teaser for Project 007 as well.
Oh yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see how that and Hitman perform and stuff. But yeah. Interesting times ahead for the Nintendo Switch 2. Did it do enough to convince you to buy one, Coleman?
No.
No? Oh.
We'll see.
That's a shame because you can afford one and I can't.
I wouldn't say that.
Do you want to buy me one?
Sure. I'll just get us all. Do you know what? Put in the comments. Put in the comments now if you want to Switch 2. I'll send them out at the end of the show.
Don't make those kind of promises, Coleman.
I did get Big Rebel to not endorse the promotions raised by Chris Coleman. I did get an email from Shop 2, I think it was. I registered my interest like when they first announced the Switch 2, and I didn't like the minute all the emails came out. And today I got like a bunch of them that come back and say, "Hey, you're not going to be in the first round of launch. Sorry."
Oh.
So and I don't qualify for pre-ordering on the official Nintendo website either. So I don't think I'll be able to get one even if I want to get one.
Oh. Well, that makes two of us then anyway. So screw Nintendo basically, yeah? No Nintendo coverage here. Oh.
But again, I mean, they have a lot of stuff that will
get
be
Dan
available
to get one.
launch.
He can afford it, even if he has just bought another house.
They have a lot of stuff that's available on launch. They haven't gone into too much about how much the cost of upgrading stuff other than the 2 Legend of Zelda games, which a lot of the games I have, I'm not really that interested in upgrading because I've already played them. They are quite old, like Kirby. And I think the Legend of Zelda ones, they're like £20 a game to upgrade, which is £10 more than the PlayStation.
I mean, I just want to play Balatro on it. So as long as I can do that and actually read the text now, I'll be happy.
Play it on your phone. I mean,
I could do that too.
Now.
It's a lot cheaper than buying a Nintendo Switch too. But yeah, like it's a shame because I do like it. I also wonder how much the trade-in price of a Switch 1 crashed as soon as they announced this, because I bet that's gone down quite a lot in the last couple of weeks. But yeah,
just give it to my nephew.
Yeah.
Fine, he'll find some use out of it. Here you go. It's Mario Kart. Have fun with that. Splatoon, fill your boots. Okay, that will do us. We won't talk about the other things because it's quite old news now, even though I was really interested to talk about the Tencent Ubisoft situation.
That's really shenanigan-y. Like, it is the rumor that we talked about a while ago coming to fruition, and it sounded a bit not too good to be true, but too bad to be true when we discussed it before, and it does look like it's coming true. So we'll discuss that at some point in the future, maybe.
So, it's a work around a previous agreement, and we'll see how restructuring goes for the current company and all that stuff in the future.
Sounds like BS, though. That's what it sounds like.
In the quickest possible way, Tim, we have to wrap up. So I will quickly say, go to our store. It's available at tpublic.com/stores/BRB. There you can find t-shirts and stickers and coasters and hammocks and Speedos and
banana
bandanas and pieces of cheese with stuff available
Pieces of
that
eight.
has our logos and designs emblazoned upon them, such as a Tabletop Tuesday t-shirt, which Tim is going to talk about that
That is
event
a
right now.
Nice, smooth handover, Coleman. I'm not at
I thought
all
so.
vamping for time because I need to check because I haven't had time to update the site. And I need to check my Google Drive to see.
That's
what next
fine.
week's game
While you're
is.
doing that, I will say you should go to bigredbarrel.com and then over there you can find a lovely little banner image that will take you over to the Tabletop Tuesday page. And that'll usually tell you what's available at Tabletop Tuesday in Stoke, Newington.
So usually
each and every Tuesday.
didn't last
Usually,
week.
if
and
Tim's
not going to this week.
if Tim remembers to update the page or not, we'll see. Have you got your information yet, or am I still vamping?
No. Next week we will do. I might change it round actually, just so I got more time to. But I'm going to do the Star Wars deck building game for next week.
I hate you.
Yeah, because I knew you'd love that, Colin.
So much.
Knew you'd love that.
Okay. Flipping Star Wars game.
It's not actually the same deck building game that I play on the regular now. It's a different deck building game called Star Wars Deck Building. But yeah, it's a good game. It's the new set of that, based on the Clone Wars.
Tabletop Tuesday at the loading bar in Stoke.
Anyone doesn't know, each and every Tuesday, if we do an event called Tabletop Tuesday at the loading bar in Stoke Newington, there will be at some point this week, probably be after the weekend, but more details on the right-hand side of bigredbarrel.com, or you can search for more details on Tabletop Tuesday. It's on meetup.com, just search for Tabletop Tuesday, or just come along to the loading bar in Stoke Newington on Tuesday, and you could win a copy of Star Wars, the deck building game, The Clone Wars.
Ooh. Chewbacca noise. I'm not doing it. Okay, so
that was a really bad Chewbacca.
BigRedBarrel.com. That is the website where we host this here show and other shows like it if they are available. Any VRB, Tim? When's VRB? Is that next week?
If I can afford a VR game sometime this century. There's some really good games like Wanderer, Thingy of Fate, where Wanderer looks really good. Really, really good. Like the early previews.
Maybe Kev's got a new VR game.
There's quite a few VR games around at the moment, but I can't afford any of them, so no.
Maybe Kev's got a VR game to talk about. Maybe
he might do. He should do. He hopefully does. Wanderer Fragments of Fate, that's what it's called. But I've been really looking forward to that one, and I might pick it up, even though I can't really afford it. But I will, maybe.
BigRedBarrel.com. Podcasts, articles, videos, and things. Go read my write-up on the Nintendo Direct Nintendo Switch 2 event thing.
The Nintendo Direct Nintendo Switch 2
Ding.
Should have been the Super Nintendo Switch. Yep. Switch 2 sounds poo. There's the noise comment. Where was that a minute ago, eh? Could have helped me out.
Also, while you're there, go check out our social links and subscribe and talk to us and go to our Discord and do all that thing. And check out our shorts. They're available on YouTube Shorts, Instagram Reels, and TikToks. Did you see your Mullet Mad Jack review condensed down into less than 3 minutes, Tim?
It's amazing. You managed to make me sound concise, Coleman, and non-repetitive. It's you
got a little telling off on that one.
I was recommending that to Mr. John Brady, who we both saw at the weekend as well. So last weekend. I
was going to leave that for
I thought he
week.
might like that, considering how much he likes games like Hotline Miami and stuff.
There was a chap on TikTok who said, "Why are you recommending this to people of your age? Teenagers like me want to play games like this too." I'm like, yeah, fair point.
Yeah, didn't exclude him from that. Just said it particularly appeals to people.
I thought it was funny. I thought it was funny. Yeah, that was good. Anyway, go check out all the things, do all the stuff. Go to bigredbarrel.com, and we are sharpishly having to get out of here because I've got a big day tomorrow and I've got to get this all edited and up and out and ready. So, for episode 631 of BRB UK, I have been Coleman.
I might have been Tim.
Dan should have finished moving next week, and he should be back. No idea what we're playing next week. Going to be a mystery.
Yeah.
So until next time, dear listeners, dear viewers, thank you for watching, thank you for listening, and we will catch you next time. A bye noise.
You and your ears are quite welcome for the podcasting goodness that you just heard. Why not roll on over to BigRedBarrel.com for more podcasts, news, reviews, and videos from the biggest, reddest site on the internet, BigRedBarrel.com.
Yes, it's not entirely randomly generated, but it is like kind of sections stuck together. You get kind of used to them. And even when you transition from one floor to another, there's some similarities, even though they'll add more. Like the second set